I'm making like $50 for a project, man. So you know, and I'm spending like a day on this. So I'm like capping them, work, learn, do all this other stuff, man. So anyway, the Ryan Benjamin thing never went down. I ended up having to move back to Chicago again, but my truck broke down. All this stuff, man. So I'm basically catching a train with a book bag. All my stuff is gone, man. So I'm like, damn, this is the second time. You know what I'm saying? I didn't move, tried to chase my dreams, and I'm like, I'm just, you know, 8 out. So I'm like, damn.
Some people give up right there. A lot of people give up. A lot of old, you know, you meet some artists who were artists like 20 years ago. Yeah. They're like, yeah, that art thing never panned out for me. Yeah. And it's like, dang, it's just the way it works sometimes. Yeah. If you want it.
It's rough, man. Yeah, I was on the verge of giving up, man. I was like mentally just broke down. I was like, man, I ain't got no transportation. I'm like, everybody told me do not make this move, man. I'm like, I ain't got no PlayStation no more. You know what I'm saying? Everything gone, man. I ain't got access to nothing. So
it's like going back and being a teenager.
Yeah, man. So I was kind of embarrassed, man. I didn't really tell too many people. So one of my homeboys that I went to college with, he was like, yo, man, he's like, just, you know, move in here with us, you know. We can, you know, give you a place to stay, blah, 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 while you get on your feet. So, at the time, I got these guys named, his name is Vernon, and he was starting up a series called Blaze Brothers. They hit me up to do 8 of the covers for this project, and I don't know why they hit me up initially, because they were like, yo, we like your work, blah, blah, blah. So I did a test cover for them. They was like, yo, that's dope, all right. And then when I finally started doing the covers, they was like, no, we want you to completely change your style around. So this is what had to start. This is when I started to learn digital illustration, really, because I had to go into a completely different style. They wanted me to go into like a more like Jim Lee, like a more realistic type style. And I was struggling with this, so I was like, let me do it digitally. That way, you know, I'm not sitting up here rubbing through the paper trying to erase all these mistakes, man. So anyway, did those 8 covers, man. It got published with IDW. That kind of took my career up to the next level. I started to get more into comic book work now. I started to leave the album cover thing behind because people were seeing that work. And so I realized, oh, okay, man, this cat can't do a comic illustration. So that kicked that off. And I was doing that for about 2 years. Yeah.
And how long you hadn't stopped working on your own stuff, right?
No, I completely abandoned my stuff.
Did.
Like I wasn't working on it at all. I was working on my project for maybe about 2 months before I started to get into freelance. And then because of the constant work that was flowing in, I didn't have any time to devote to it.
Yep, that's how it goes sometimes. Yep. All right, so you're done the covers, IDW. You're getting famous. You're getting rich.
No, not at all. Not at all. Still broke. Still struggling. You know, still hoping clients will pay me. Yeah.
How'd you promote yourself? This is after MySpace. Did you
this was all
use social media?
All Facebook, yeah. You know, because once Facebook pretty much took over what MySpace left off at. So I was promoting myself through Facebook, and I wasn't really even promoting myself. It was just mostly, you know, me posting like, "Hey, here's a work in progress," and people would see it. And because I was networking with a lot of independent creators, they wanted me to, you know, do work for them as well because, you know, I was cheap, but I was decent. Yeah. So they're like, oh man, let me get them on the project. You know, I can get some attention. So that's how I was making ends meet. Not enough to survive off of, but, you know, just getting by.
Did you have to have a side job during those times still?
I couldn't, man, because where my homeboy lived at, he was out in the west suburbs, and they have no public transportation out there in west suburbs of Illinois. So I was basically stuck in the crib, no car, nothing.
Internet connection. That's
it. Just internet connection, man. Hustling with a Wi-Fi. That's it.
Hustling with a Wi-Fi. Hold on, I need to write that down. That's gonna be a new Always Open shirt right there. Hustling with a Wi-Fi.
Sounds like a new digital show or something.
Yes, son. Oh man. That could be a show. W and Eric 9 are in here. All right, so you hear it from me first. We need to include me in this show. Y'all gonna organize a show. We're gonna do a call for art for artists all over the world. All they gotta do is email that stuff in, and y'all print it out. Or we have big TVs and rotate the artwork. You know, and that's it. It was an art show just done through Wi-Fi.
Hey, man.
Yeah, submissions. All right, so now you're freelancing. You're doing the covers. When did Trill League come into your mind? When did that process start? How did it start?
Basically, man, I was I had took on another album cover job, and the guy, I was seriously waiting for that money because my phone bill was due. So he's like, "Yo, man, I'm finna have this down payment for you to start on this album cover." So I'm like waiting for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's a Wednesday night. I clearly remember it. He did not come through with it. So I was like, "Fuck!" I'm like, "Just let me draw something." So I drew. I was like, "Man, let me." I was flipping Marvel characters at the time, and making them like giving like a hip hop esque design.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had did Storm. Then I had did Mystique, and then people were like, "Oh man, that's dope! You should do another character." So I had actually did Gambit that morning and started on him, and then put it to the side because I was waiting for this project to come through. I wasn't really feeling the Gambit, and I was like, Marvel characters are really kind of easy to flip, you know, to the hip hop aesthetic. I was like, let me try a DC character. So I did Robin, and then what I had did was I had gave him some design cues from my character that I had created that I was telling you about. That I was trying to do my own project, you know, with the 2 parts and all that stuff, you know, kicks and all that. So I did that, posted that online, man, went to bed. Next morning, I wake up, it's got like 160 shares. You know? So I'm like, damn, okay. I'm like, okay, it might cost something. So that night, I did another sheet, but I just did it a little bit cleaner because the first one was kind of rushed. That one got like 200 shares. So I was like, all right, man. I'm like, okay. People feeling this. So I'm like, let me flip some more DC characters. So I had thought of something funny. I did a Green Lantern where he was basically had the power ring and he was, you know, using it for an activator in his hair. So he turned him into a pimp, man. That got like 350 shares, and I think at that point I knew I was like, all right, yo, this is it. So yeah, I was just flipping DC characters, man. I just flipped them, you know, and it was like
giving them flavor.
Personality. Yeah, you know. So and just combine like a lot of pop culture references, like with the Wandisha character who was the Wonder Woman parody. I had did like a lot of Beyonce stuff. Like instead of an invisible jet, I gave her an invisible surfboard for the Beyonce song. You know, she was always twerking, and she used the lasso of truth. You know what I'm saying, to find out if a man was cheating on her. You know, trying to find out, you know, whose number was in the phone and stuff like that. So so yeah, man. After that, it just like just kept building, you know.
There was an audience for it.
Yeah, yeah.
And so did you start thinking of ideas of to do a book and a story that would be covered in a book, or did you ask other artists or writers to come and work with you on this?
No, actually, because I always wanted to write. Like I've been writing all my life, man. That was another one of the activities I partook in. And actually, I won an award for that too within the NAACP academic competition. But I only came in second for that one, so
second.
So but no, I had always wanted to write, man. And basically, I had did some. First, I was just flipping the characters, but then I started to do like these little mini strips, doing like little situations and stuff like that. And then I think that's when it really started to, you know, people were like, yeah, we want to see this as a book. So. I mean, I wasn't expecting Trill League to take off, you know, to where it's at right now. I was just, you know, having fun with the DC characters, and then I just started to find out that I have, like, some comedic writing skills, and I could, like, flip situations and stuff like that, man, so just kept building.
Let me ask a question real quick. When did you, in this process of you know, making these characters and kind of just starting to put Trill League together, where along that line did you come out with that shirt, the Rob shirt?
You talking about where I'm holding the
Spreezy. I don't know how many you've put out, but like there's one that you did like last year, I believe.
Oh, the one where he's doing the bat signal.
Yeah,
that was one of the. That was the second time I had did the character sheets, and that was one of the designs I did. So everybody was like really flipping out on that design. So that's why I decided to print that on the shirt, because I had to do a presentation at Wizard World Chicago, so I had printed out a shirt for myself, and then I had posted online. Everybody's like, "Oh man, let me get that shirt." So that's what that came about. So yeah, that's when I was following you a little bit before that, but then when I seen that you were putting it on a shirt, you know, that's when I was like, "Yo, this dude is about to, you know." Oh, that's when they call win. Yeah, I think that's when everybody was gravitating toward, like, yo, he throwing up the bat signal, man. And that's when, of course, I got a lot of controversy too. Like, you throwing up gang signs, man. What you doing, man? So
everybody's going to find something.
Yeah.
So now, how did you fund? And I think we're getting to Kickstarter. It was a
Yeah.
Kickstarter. So you've realized that there's a market, that people want it. You did you try to look for investors? Did you try to see how much money it would cost you to put something together, or did you figure that crowdfunding route right away?
I wanted to crowdfund last year just to get it done, but then of course that's when Fox had got in contact with me and I was working for them, and then just realizing that, you know, working full time plus life and all that stuff like that, I was like, yo, I'm not going to be able to dedicate as much time as I want to this project, because I felt that the material that I was putting out at the time, people thought it was decent, but I knew it wasn't my best. I'm actually a pretty slow artist, I'm not gonna lie, you know, like people can knock out stuff, I'm slow as hell, man. But so I was like, yo, I need some time to do this, so I was like, I gotta crowdfund it so I can put everything else to the side just to solely work on this. So yeah, so that's basically why I kicked off the Kickstarter, was just so I didn't have to do any freelance work and just.
What was your financial goal?
I had initially asked for $7,000. I got that within the first 24 hours. So.
And what was the financial reach?
21.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were gonna produce how many books with that? What was the
3 books.
3 books?
The first 3.
But
right now, actually, when I get back to Chicago after I leave Atlanta, I got to head to St. Louis because there's a publisher interested in taking on the project. So they want to do the first couple of issues. So I'm just going to extend out past those 3. So I'm trying to figure out, you know, how I'm going to do that along with the Kickstarter. You know, basically, how do I give incentives to the people who back the Kickstarter, giving them exclusive material while still trying to balance this publishing deal at the same time too. So trying to do that balancing act on it.
Because right now you have how many books? 1, right?
Issue 0, which is basically an exclusive that I'm doing. That's basically, it kind of serves a couple of purposes. Basically what it was something that I can keep for myself, because once the publisher gets the book, I can't control the sales of it. Like, I can't hold anything. So issue 0 is an exclusive that I hold for myself that I can sell anytime I want. It's also an incentive for the Kickstarter backers, so, you know, something that they get, but also it was a way to establish the transition from it being DC parody to it being kind of its own property. So it's kind of like, for people who have followed it, you would understand what's going on, because I had made Chris Brown Robin. Like, if you've been following the whole time, you know that Chris Brown was Robin, and Robin got kicked off the team and all that stuff like that. So this story basically covers that, and him getting back on the squad, and also him changing his name, because everybody was calling him Trill Robin, and now I can't use that anymore, of course, because, you know, going into the whole legal side of the game.
Yeah.
So now, you know, at the end of the book, his name changes. So it serves a couple of purposes, man.
And so the Kickstarter backers, have they received their? They haven't not received their rewards, or the 3 books?
They got that as a digital download. Basically,
digitals.
Yeah. Once I finish the 3 books, then that's when I'll do the print copies and all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very nice. So it's kind of like you became a publisher or a creator, and following just your creativity.
Yeah, man. Learning the game, it's tough, you know. Trying to, you know, learn how to do the business side of things, man. I'm not used to that just yet. I'm just basically used to, you know, sitting in front of a computer, you know, trying to hassle my clients to pay me my money that they owe me. But now it's on a whole new level, so just adjusting to it.
What do you see this? How far do you see the story? How much of a story do you have, or is it constantly evolving in your head?
It's constantly evolving, man. I think the good thing about Trill League is just because it takes in so many pop culture references and is, you know, based off superhero mythology, man. I don't see an end to it. I mean, eventually one day I will end it. You know, this isn't something that I plan on doing forever. You know, unless somebody else want to take it over, because I do have other stories that I want to tell. But yeah, man, I don't see an end to it, because it's just like, it's so much material that you can take and create a story with it.
You have a question? You seem eager, no? Okay, you chilling. Listen. Your experiences in life, the couple of trips, the latest one in California, living in Hollywood now. Do you think do you see those now as a learning experience for what you have to go through now, that you have a property, that you have to make deals and have to be intelligent about it?
Yeah, man. I'm kind of paranoid, in all honesty, man, because you hear all the horror stories when it comes to, like, you know, people creating stuff and they come to find out that they only got like $10,000 and now the person making